Hey Bookish Rebels, welcome to our first Bookish Catch-Up of the year. January was a crazy reading month for me. I read 7 books, which I haven't had a chance to do in absolutely years. So I had a chance to read 7 books. I got hooked into a series that I absolutely love, and I only have 1 book left, and I'm so not wanting to read that book because I don't want it to end. I did read me some nice spicy romance. January seemed to be the month for either this series, which is sort of horror thriller, or spicy romance, and only 2 authors. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's get into some of the books that I read this January. Let me know in the comments what you've been reading and if any of my books are on your TBR list. All right, let's get into it. All right, so I have taken notes because this is actually my first book wrap up period. So I want to make sure I give you all as many details as possible. What I have in front of me is 2 sort of reading journals that I made up for myself. One of them I found didn't quite have enough room for my book review, so I made another one, but I wanted to show you those. And I have this one that I did last year for 2024-2025. This year I actually have this one up on my website, that is beautyoverage.store, but it is just for the 2025 year. And then inside it has your 2024 reading planner. It has like a contact list. It has, I don't want to go too deep into it, but it has the holidays. It's like a planner, just like any other planner. Then you have your bookshelf where you can color in the books that you have read that year. You can put in books that you bought. You can do your reading log and reading challenges. I am going to show you quickly what the monthly reading looks like. So this is what the monthly calendar looks like. And I'll bring that a little bit closer so you can see. And I just use this part to put when I started the book and when I finished the book. Down here is where you can put the list of books you read. And then if that's not enough space, you have your monthly reading log here so you can list all the books that you read. And then you have challenges. So this book has several book challenges in it. It has the 10 book challenges, 25 book challenges, which is what I'm doing, 50 book challenge, 100 book challenge, 200 book challenge, 52 books in 52 weeks, so on and so forth. So yeah, this one is available on my website now. I will put the link to it down in the description. This one I just made for myself. As you can see, it is much thicker. That is mostly because I have more book review pages. And I did put this for the 2025-2026 time frame. I also personalized this at the bottom. It has the same sort of situation. Your monthly reading looks a little bit different. I think that the information is the same, but it looks a little bit different. And you can do your book wish list. I have, and I think I need to color in another one, my book here, the books that I have read. This one also has a page for books I did not finish. I can color those. You can do your book of the month. This is books I might remember to read. It also has a book tournament and a lot of other good things. You have books I want, which you can write the name in, the Hall of Fame, so on and so forth. But what was most important to me is that I had enough room to do my book reviews. So the book review page on this one is just a little bit different. You still have a place to put the picture of the book. You have plenty of room to write what you thought about it. You also have a rating scale of 1 to 5, a spice scale of 1 to 5, and I have plenty more of those pages in the back here. So these are the two sort of documentation pieces that I am going to be bringing into my videos, because the mind is not that great anymore. So I had to be able to write down what I thought of the book so that I could share it with you all. All right, so let's get into the books that I read in January. And the first one that I picked up on January the 1st is Rhythms Blues by Kimberly Brown. So the main characters in this book are Rhythm, and Rhythm is I think she's a therapist of some sort. I cannot remember exactly what she did, but she is a professional. She is married to Prince Cole, not married to, she is dating a Prince Cole, who's a rapper, whose image is everything to him. So he's doing everything that I think the record label is sort of telling him to do to sort of protect his image. So at the time, that meant acting like he was dating another artist from the label in public, and he's ignoring her in public but coming to her in private, and then come to find out stuff is going on that side of town, trying not to make it too like spoily, not too many spoiler alerts. But then Rhythm starts to go out with Channing. Channing is sort of a producer, I think he is, and their relationship, of course, gets hot and heavy once she leaves Prince Cole. Anyway, lots of stuff went on. I did say that my favorite part of the book was when Channing took Rhythm to this ceremony and she got recognized, and he was just like there for her. I just loved how he was there for her in the book. I did say that this book, it is spicy. I would probably give it maybe a 3.5 to 4 on the spice scale. It did hold my attention. I actually finished this book in a day. So it was a quick read, and I would recommend this author. What I do kind of notice is that her stories are kind of similar, where you have the female being done wrong by the male, and then there's another male involved. Sort of. The first 2 books I read were like that. But I gave this book, I am going to say, initially I said I gave it 5 stars, but I am going to take that down to 4 stars. I don't like extra spicy. I mean, I can do with some spice, but any spice is kind of going to knock a star down for me, for lack of a better way to say that. So that was the first book I read, Rhythms Blues by Kimberly Brown. The next book I read was also by Kimberly Brown, and it is called Something in My Heart. And Something in My Heart, the main characters are Onyx, Helani, and also Onyx's brother Hendrix. So those are the main characters. Hendrix and Helani are actually friends, and Hendrix introduced Helani to his brother, And the brother's name is Onyx once again. And so they had a relationship. Halani got pregnant but ended up losing the baby, and she went through this whirlwind of emotions and found out that Onyx was not the man that she thought he was. But then in comes Hendrix, because she's his friend. He wants to make sure no harm comes to her. He wants to be there for her through all her trials and tribulations, and she had many of them. So as he was there for her, taking care of her, their relationship, of course, got stronger. Then their relationship went to the spicy side, and then Onyx found out, and this book is messy. I am not going to say much more than that, but I believe at the end of the day that Halani made the best choice in the man that she chose, so I am glad that she did choose them. Like the book Rhythm and Blues, though, I am going to give this book a 3.5 to 4 in spicy, and I'm going to give it 4 stars. Would I recommend this book? Absolutely. It is a good time. This one took me about 5 days to read, because I think I was like just picking it up, putting it down, picking it up, putting it down. Rhythms, Blues, once I had it in my hand, I had to read all of it. But this one I just kind of picked up and down, and it just took me a little bit longer to read. But it is still a good urban romance book if you are interested. So the next few books I'm going to show you are the series that I got into, and I do have the physical copies of them. And these are from the Black Winter series from Darcy Coates. The first book that I picked up in this series was called Voices in the Snow. And with Voices in the Snow, these books are, on the back it says horror fiction. They're sort of horror fiction, dystopian type of books, which generally I don't like the dystopian thing. I don't like dystopian generally, but this one kind of hit a little bit different for me. So this one, the main characters are Claire, Doran, and Claire's sister Beth. So in the beginning of the series, Beth sends a message to Claire that something is wrong and she needs to come to her, and she needs to stay in this bunker with her. So Claire is on her way to pick up her aunt, because the aunt is on the way to her sister's house, and the aunt is like the only other person in the world that they have. So she wanted to go pick up the aunt, and then they both go and stay in the bunker with Claire. She never made it to her aunt, because somewhere in the woods that she normally travels, the world sort of changed, and she ended up getting into an accident within these woods. So she was unconscious, and then when she woke up, she was in a strange room, very well taken care of. Saw Doran, just, I think he at the point was standing there looking out of the window. She didn't know whether or not to trust him. She didn't know if he meant her harm, like if he kind of kidnapped her. She didn't know what was going on, so she didn't trust him. Then as the book went on, she realized that, yeah, he really is taking care of me. The relationship just got kind of stronger. He started sort of breaking down the walls that he had and was telling her about his family. But meanwhile, on the outside, you had these strange, I don't even want to call them zombies, because there was something above and beyond zombies, but these things were outside and they wanted to consume humans. And they found that out when they tried to get out of the house to do different things they needed to do, because there was this snow that was just coming down and is piling up, and she had left her phone or her radio in her car, and she needed to be able to get to talk to Beth, and so many things happened, and that is all Voices in the Snow. But it made me sort of attach myself to Claire and Doran. It made me sort of root for the relationship, that she would drop her walls, like her distrust. He would drop his walls and they would get together. So yeah, I was rooting for Claire and Doran from book 1. And then we went into book 2, which is The Secrets in the Dark. So the main thing for that changed in Secrets in the Dark is that by the end of Voices in the Snow, she had been able to contact her sister. Her sister was in some kind of distress, and all she knew was that she needed to be able to get to her sister. Somehow Doran could never deny her whatever she wanted, so he kind of came up with a plan to help her go and search for her sister, or get to her sister's bunker to see if she was okay. And they had so many things stacked against them on this trip. Like, they had at this point learned how to fight what they called the Hollow Ones. And the Hollow Ones were the ones who wanted to consume human flesh to stay alive, or to quench this hunger that they had. But they had a lot of fighting with them. They had a lot of discoveries that were like heartbreaking. Things going on health-wise, just all the things to continue into Secrets in the Dark. So that was the second Darcy Coates book that I read. This one is a little bit thicker than Voices in the Snow. Voices in the Snow was 342 pages by my estimate, and Secrets in the Dark is 484 pages. But I could not, I only just kept thinking about these people. The more I got into their story, the more I was like, I have to pick that book up and find out what happened next. So it took me from January the 8th to the 9th to read Voices in the Snow. Like I said, that one was a bit of a thinner book. And then the Secrets in the Dark, it took me from the 10th to the 15th to finish this one. All right, so with that being said, the last book of the series that I have gotten through so far is called Whispers in the Mist. So this is book 3. All right, so this is a book 3, and this one has, I have to look at the actual page, but it took me from January the 16th to January the 22nd to read that one. Story-wise, this one has 467 pages in it, and this one is following Doran and Claire again. They have found Beth, but Beth has the sister notices that she seems a little bit more aggressive than she used to. She seems to have almost like the weight of the world on her shoulder. She doesn't smile anymore, but somehow she's still Beth. So Beth, can we all just go and try to find this place that we need to find to do this thing that we need to do? This trip is going to be hard, but can we do it? So they all decided, because Beth had almost this invincible bus or something, whatever she had, that they were all traveling together. Beth, of course, you would know what happened, does not like Doran. And at that point, Doran is sick. So Beth is looking at him like, yeah, he's sick. I don't know if I want him on this trip with us. She even asked him to leave the trip. But anyway, they all went through the trials and tribulations trying to get to this place. And it just seems like everything was sort of stacking against them. I am trying my best not to tell you all what's going to happen in this book, but this book had me stuck. When I tell you this book had me stuck, I had to, I was up late at night reading this book, eyes burning, everything. But this series is so good. There is one more book in the series, and it's called Silence in the Something. I'm only looking at it on my little card right there, so I can't see the whole name. I have put that book to the side for the month of February because, of course, if you saw my February TBR, it's going to be African American authors. So I left that book and I went back to a book on my Kindle. So like Rhythms Blues, Something in My Heart, those I read on my Kindle. Then I read this book Under the Influence on my Kindle, which is also by Kimberly Brown. So like I told you, January was the month for Darcy Coates and Kimberly Brown. Those are the only two authors that I read. Well, no, that's not true. Mainly the two authors that I read in January. But Under the Influence has to do with the main characters, Maeli and Alanis, or Alanis. When I think Alanis, when I see that name, I think Alanis Morissette. So I'm thinking Alanis is a girl's name. But anyway, let's get past that. But Alanis and Maeli were friends in high school, and then something happened to make her not like him. And so fast forward a few years later, she's like a PR person, and his company, or her boss, came to her and said, I have this difficult client. I need somebody to clean up his image. And after the fact of him telling her, yeah, you are going to do this because you're my best person, she found out it was Alanis. She flipped her entire wig because she did not want to be bothered with him. But of course, the more time she spent with him, the more that like fire that they had in high school just roared forward, and they got into a relationship. She went through the things about, I'm not supposed to be fraternizing with our clients, and he had all this drama from women that he used to date before her, and of course trying to keep the secret that they're dating so people wouldn't find out. One sec. So that people would not find out what was going on in the means, especially her parents. But in the meantime, she's doing a great job of helping him clean up his image, and he's even taking the reins and doing things on his own to clean up his image. Of course, the relationship gets hot and spicy, because this is your urban romance, and it is hot and spicy because that is what we do here. But they inevitably fall in love, and then there's drama from his mother and drama from some woman that he used to date, and they're trying to out them and let everybody know that they date, and let them know something between Alanis and his mother, and like, when I say messy, this book is messy. This book is messy. But I recommend it, just like I did all of Kimberly Brown's other books that I've read so far. Pick it up. It's one of those sort of quick, get you out of your reading slump type books. It is good. But this book I gave 4 stars. I also gave it 4 flames for the spiciness, but definitely recommend it. Yeah, that's it. That's the last sort of Kimberly Brown book that I read in January. I then went to what I would say is a historical fiction, and this is like the book of the year, at least the book of the year at Barnes and Noble, and this is called James, and it's by Percival Everett. This book is super popular. I think at one point it was hard to find, but I was able to get it on Amazon, because getting it on Amazon was cheaper than getting it at Barnes and Noble. So I got it on Amazon. And this book follows James, who is a slave. They call him Jim. It also has Huckleberry Finn and Tom. I forgot Tom's, but Huck and Tom, you know the story of Huck and Tom. This is like a reimagining of that story, and you don't so much, you get a little bit of Tom in this story, but it's mostly between James or Jim and Huck or Huckleberry. And what happens is James finds out that he's going to be sold. So he decides to run away because he doesn't want to be sold. So he just like briefly tells his wife and his daughter, I have to leave. I don't want to be sold, but I will come back and get you. So he ran away. In the meantime, Huck is having issues with his father. He's afraid of his father. So he did something and he ran away. In the midst of his running away, he ran into James, and a lot of their adventures during this book were together. They got separated a lot, but at the end, they always found each other. There is a very, I don't even know if it was a sort of surprising dynamic between Huck and James. The other thing, this is what I really liked about this book. This book, in this book, they have the slave talk that they talk to their slave owners, but James also knew how to read and write, and in his regular life spoke perfect English. But because he didn't want his slave owners to realize that, yes, this is me and I'm more intelligent than you give me credit for, he sort of kept that a secret. And he also had like, I want to say, and I keep saying he also had lessons for his family to teach them slave speak, for lack of a better word. But this book pretty much goes through all the trials and tribulations that Huck and Jim went through trying to get to, I think he was trying to get to Illinois because they had heard that Illinois was like a place for free people, even though he says, I'm still a slave, so it doesn't matter where I am, I'm still a slave. But they went through so many things. And they went through James, even though he was a runaway, he kept getting sold while he was running away, and just all of the things that slaves went through was discussed in this book. This book I started, and I don't think I put it in here. It might be in my Goodreads. I started this book on the 27th of January, and I finished reading it, the 26th, and I started because I know I read it for like 4 days, and I finished it on the 30th of January. So definitely my last book for January. This book I gave 5 stars. Of course, there's no spice in the book whatsoever. There are a lot of characters that you will come to love and hate in this book. There are a lot of situations that are going to leave your mouth open and your chin on the floor in this book. I recommend it, especially for, and I tore my cover, that's why you see tape on it, especially for February if you are into the Black History Month reads or the African American authors. This book was really good, and it is a historical fiction. So that is it, you all. Those are the 7 books that I read in January. I enjoy doing a little summary with you all to let you know what I'm reading. And if you haven't read it and it sounds interesting, please pick it up and read it, or get it on your Kindle and read it. I also wanted to be a little bit of self-promotion. So as I mentioned before, I do have a Shopify store. And I am going to be adding some bookish merchandise to my Shopify store. I do already have a few books on there, but I want some bookish merchandise. So there may be like some sweatshirts and t-shirts, but I also have these 20-ounce insulated tumblers, the skinny tumblers. This is one of the designs that I have, and it says welcome and read on in Bookville, sort of the Vegas sort of sign. And it says cliffhangers, TBR pals, free escape from reality, open 24/7. So let me know what you all think, if you think that this is something that I should be adding to my shop, if you would be interested in it. All I know is these things do leave your drinks cold for a long time. And we also have, some of them have my business logo on it, but then this one I have the Rebel Spirit Collective logo on it. So be a part of the tribe, join the Rebel Spirit Collective. I think I'm going to change all of those logos to that, since it's all of the bookish things that I'm going to be having related to this channel. But end of shameless promotion. Thank you all so much for joining me today to find out what I have read in January. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, family, and others, because we need to grow the family over here. So I would love to have them. I would love to have you if you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.